Yo, what up? Oaghaji here, back in the building with another video for y'all today, and it's time for another review. Now, today's review is going to be on the 1976 Hong Kong Kung Fu film classic, Shaolin Temple. Not to be confused with the 1982 Shaolin Temple starring the awesome Jet Li. It stars Alexander Sheng, David Chen, T. Long, aka Dick Long, Yueh, Ngok in Cantonese, Wan Chun, Lu Yang, Wang Long Wai, Alexander Sheng, Phillip Kwok, Freki Wei Hung, Lo Meng, Shizu, Shan Mao, Phillip Kwok, Li Yimin, Tun Yin Sun, Chi Quan Chi, Chi Chi Quan Chan, Kung Kai, and many, many more. Yeah, Chi Quan Chan. Yeah, just want to let y'all know. Fight choreography is done by Chao Wei and Leon. If I remember, yeah, I think that's it. Written by Quan Chan Chen, it's directed by Chan Chen and produced by Rumei Shah. And I'm going to use disc number 3 of volume 1 of the Arrow Video Shaw Brothers Shaw Scope Blu-ray collection, which is an awesome collection, by the way. And I'm going to use that for this review. And I'm going to read the synopsis in this booklet from said volume 1 Blu-ray collection. So, now I'm talking about volume 1 of the Blu-ray collection. I have to correct myself. Alright, without further delays, let's begin. In defiance of the Qing authority, many patriotic people rush to the Shaolin Temple to learn Kung Fu. However, the Qing are intent on crushing the temple and its monks and students, thereby nipping their teachings in the bud. The Shaolin pupils are Feng Sayuk and Hu Ho Kuan, as well as many other courageous youths. Feng Sayuk is the son of Miao Zuhua. That's her Mandarin name. Hopefully I'll get her Cantonese name in a minute, later on the line. Anyway, a successful female pupil of the well-known woman hermit and martial artist, Moi. The main motive for these two youngsters, Feng and Hu, to enter the Shaolin Temple to learn martial arts is to avenge their father's death. Who were killed by the pro-Qing Wudun clique. Moi, who was a teacher at the Shaolin Temple, agrees to instruct Hu Deidi and Sai Dizhong in the terrible art of using a whip as well as fists. In return, Hu and Sai must help Feng and Hu instruct the other residents of the Shaolin Temple. Hoi Shan, an abbot of the temple, is a spy for the Qing dynasty and secretly tries to disrupt the work of the temple, collaborating with his subordinates Ma Fu Yi. Hoi is ready to attack the trainees from within the temple, if and when the Qing soldiers are prepared to mount their attack upon the temple. Once Feng and Hu have successfully completed their training at the Shaolin Temple, they wish to leave in order to avenge their father's death. But fearing that their teachers will refuse permission, they chose to run the gauntlet by fighting their way past the 108 wooden robots. While struggling with the robots, the traitors Hu Xuan, Ma, and their henchmen suddenly pounce upon them. Fortunately, several other patriotic monks arrive in the nick of time to save the lives of Feng and Hu. In due course, because Feng and Hu succeeded in avenging their father's death, they return to the Shaolin Temple. Meanwhile, the Shaolin Temple is suddenly attacked by the several thousand Qing troops, who are aided by the traitors within that have immobilized and weakened the other monks by secretly putting poison into their well. The Shaolin authority and many of his followers, the highest Shaolin authority, and many of his followers die in a fire, which subsequently rages through the temple. I want to stop there because spoilers. Anyway, let's talk about my thoughts on the story. The story was actually pretty cool, especially it features the mischievous Cantonese martial arts folk legend Feng Sayuk, played awesomely by Alexander Sheng, who played him previously in Heroes 2, while Chen Guantai in Cantonese played Hong Hei Gun. Feng Sayuk has been played many times before this, in the black and white martial arts films in Hong Kong, and in mainland China, if I remember correctly. And then, he'll be played later on again in this film, as well as Heroes 2 by Alexander Fusheng, and then later on in the 90s by Jet Li. Also, Meng also played Feng Sayuk in a couple of films, especially Prodigal Boxer and Secret of the Shaolin Post. But anyway, the story is pretty cool, and the characters are very interesting, you know what I'm saying? And they have some pretty decent development. Could they have been developed a little bit better? Yes. Could the writing could have been a little bit better in certain areas, like in the middle and the end? Absolutely. But for the most part, the story and characters are written well, in my opinion. And all the actors did a fantastic job in their roles. Alexander Fusheng, Chun, T. Long, Dick Long, Kuan, Yueh, Ngok, Wang, Chen, some of the members of the Venom Mob all did their thing in this film. Excuse me, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So that's all I have to say about that. The story, characters, and acting all get a 4.5 out of 5, you know what I'm saying? And I do suggest y'all watching this in Mandarin with English subtitles. Avoid the English dub at all costs. Now, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this film, the action. The action is just phenomenal. Some awesome classic kung fu shapes. You have the tiger style, snake and all that, all those awesome, classical kung fu shape techniques, you know what I'm saying? That gained popularity again thanks to the earlier Shaolin Temple films directed by Cheh and choreographed by Lao Gaolun and Tongai, you know what I'm saying? Again, there were, the classical kung fu shapes were showcased before in the black and white martial arts films back in the day, in the 50s and 60s and whatnot, but it was around the mid, 70s that these classical kung fu shapes were brought back, especially post, Bruce Lee's unfortunate death, you know what I'm saying? After when he helped make the martial arts genre in Hong Kong, popular around the world. Anyway, the fight scenes were definitely well choreographed, very well shot, very well edited, and very well lit, as well as the film as a whole, especially since, it's shot in location of the Shaw Brothers Studios, as well as some of the new territories, especially like the outdoor, drops in the Shaw Brothers Studio in Clearwater Bay, which is pretty awesome. So the action is awesome. The film was shot as a whole very well, you know what I'm saying? So the action, cinematography, editing, and lighting all get a 5 out of 5. The music is also pretty good. It combines, some library music and some classical Chinese music, which is cool. And it was composed very well, I would say. I would say the library music was implemented very well, in my opinion. So the music definitely gets a 5 out of 5. Overall, Shaolin Temple is an awesome 1976 Hong Kong Kung Fu film classic from the Shaw Brothers Studios that I highly recommend y'all checking out, you know what I'm saying? This film gets a 4.5 out of 5. Hopefully y'all enjoy this review, and I apologize for the hiccups and me talking too fast and the brain farts and all that stuff. I mean, it's a little late, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, let me know what y'all think about Shaolin Temple 1976 in the comments below if y'all watch it already. If y'all like this video, y'all can hit that like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel if y'all interested in the content, you feel me? Hit that bell to keep y'all notified. Y'all can follow me on my other social media accounts such as Twitter, the Mastodon, the Fediverse sites like Game Liberty and Shitpostal World Minds, and a bunch of other social media accounts as well, especially Instagram. And stay tuned for more other reviews and more other videos along the way. So with all that said, this is Ogechi Aghaji, aka Oaghaji, signing out. Peace.